Rwanda, 10,169 square miles of culture, hope, and beauty.
The story of the Rwandan Genocide begins with European colonization that was then known as German East Africa. The original German colonizers considered the minority Tutsi ethnic group as superior to the majority Hutu ethnic group. Some Germans even referred to Tutsis as quote-unquote black Aryans. After the Treaty of Versailles, control over what is now known as Rwanda passed to Belgium. The Belgians also considered the Tutsis to be racially superior to the Hutus. After independence in 1960, the Hutus took power from the Tutsis. During retribution, 150,000 Tutsis fled to neighboring countries. Another military coup in 1973 installed a radical Hutu military general, Habyarimana, as leader. In 1990, the Tutsi Rwanda Patriotic Front, RPF, rebels invaded from Uganda. A ceasefire was agreed to, but the peace wouldn't last.
Until April of 1994.
On April 6, 1994, a plane carrying Habyarimana was shot down. Though the perpetrators were never found, the Tutsi population of Rwanda was seen as responsible. The next prime minister was also assassinated, and radical Hutus would again take power. And then the genocide would begin.
In the span of 100 days, 800,000 Tutsi had been brutally murdered. Hutus made up the majority of the population, and when they were left in power, they laid the groundwork for the genocide, resulting in a widespread massacre and discrimination against the Tutsi. By the time the Tutsi-led Rwandan Patriotic Front gained control by the military offensive in July of 1994, hundreds of thousands of Rwandans were already dead, or the 2 million refugees had already fled to neighboring countries and camps in the Congo, then called Zaire. The Hutu killers were merciless, murdering every Tutsi they encountered. Machetes were used to cut off limbs and split skulls in half, and often they would even kill them. They would cut them apart and let them slowly and painfully bleed out.
After nearly endless suffering, a hope began to spark.
After mid-May, the brutal 6-week stretch in which death and destruction occurred, the genocide finally started to slow. Cracks in the armor were beginning to form. The Rwandan Patriotic Front, or the RPF, along with joint training with the MDR and PSD, warned the sitting government not to attack the Tutsi people. When this request was not met, conflict followed. The RPF started to take back key parts of Rwanda until they ousted the sitting government, where the killing finally came to an end. It's hard to say what would have become of Rwanda if the RPF had not gotten involved. The killings in Rwanda were seen as empowered mainly by local people, not an organized killing. Therefore, the involvement of specific organizations like the UN was limited. Killings were personal and done not by soldiers but by everyday people. Using more rudimentary weapons, killings didn't seem to come from orders but from personal and targeted motivation and hatred for the Tutsi people.
But the genocide has continued to impact the Rwandan people. Over 30 years later, the injustice of the Rwandan genocide has continued to carry out. Fulgence Kayishema, labeled as the mastermind of the Rwandan genocide, has been evading the justice and court system for years, only recently appearing in court. But even now, is justice truly being carried out?